All right, so chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita pretty much drills one thing into our heads. You've got to act, and you have to act selflessly. Simple enough, right? Well, hold on, because chapter 4 comes along and throws a huge wrench in the works with a follow-up question that, well, it changes everything.
I mean, think about it. If you're out there doing your duty, helping people, not looking for anything in return, shouldn't that be enough? Like, isn't that the finish line? It feels like it should be. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, the Gita hits us with this totally counterintuitive idea. It says that selfless action, all by itself, might not actually lead to freedom. It could even be a trap.
And yeah, that's exactly what we're diving into first. Let's call it the good deed trap. It's this wild idea that even when we're trying our absolute best, our most noble actions can backfire if we're missing one crucial ingredient, the right kind of understanding.
So here's the core of Krishna's argument. He says that action without knowledge, it still ties you up. It still creates these psychological knots. Sure, it can clean up your behavior on the outside, which is awesome, a great first step, but it doesn't dig down to the root of the problem, which is your understanding. So you're left wondering, how is that even possible? How can doing good things end up trapping you?
Well, it's because the ego is just so sneaky. It's a master of disguise. Here's how it worms its way back in. You think you're being selfless, but attachment starts hiding in your good deeds. Suddenly your whole identity gets tied up in being the helper or the sacrificer. And once that happens, you're just a short hop away from feeling this subtle pride, maybe even a little bit of moral superiority, you know? The action itself looks great, but inside you're just forging a brand new chain.
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial distinction that's at the very heart of chapter 4. This isn't about choosing action or knowledge. It's about seeing that they both have their own unique job to do when it comes to finding freedom.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Krishna's point is basically a two-step cleaning process, right? Selfless action, that's like washing the car. It cleans up the outside, your behavior, how you interact with the world, looks great. But knowledge is what details the inside. It purifies your understanding, your perception, the very lens you see everything through. And for real, lasting freedom, you absolutely need both. Okay, so when we say knowledge, what are we actually talking about? Because this is super important. The Gita is not talking about book smarts. It's not about collecting facts, memorizing verses, or just believing in something. Jnana is something way deeper. It's a fundamental shift in how you see things. It's about seeing reality correctly, specifically seeing the huge difference between your true self and the actions that are just happening.
You know, right at the start of the chapter, Krishna makes this point about how this knowledge is ancient, that it's been passed down for ages. And you might wonder, why bring that up? Well, he's basically saying, hey, this stuff is reliable. It's time-tested. This isn't some newfangled idea he just came up with. It's a timeless solution to a timeless problem. Good old human confusion. The reason this knowledge has stuck around is because it deals with the basic operating system of the human mind. And that doesn't really change no matter what century you're in.
So this knowledge is supposed to be so powerful, but what does it actually do? What's the result? Well, when you finally combine that selfless action with the right understanding, something totally radical happens to the action itself. And this is the absolute game changer. The Gita puts forward this incredible idea that you can act, you can be fully engaged in the world doing your thing, and have those actions create zero psychological baggage. None. No new karma, no new attachments, no new mental knots. I mean, how on earth is that even possible? It all comes down to a pretty profound mental shift. So step 1, you start to let go of that intense feeling of, I am the doer. You start seeing yourself more like an instrument. Step 2, you stop seeing the action as your personal project and start seeing it as just a movement within this huge, interconnected system. And step 3, which is the natural result of the first two, is you finally unhook your self-worth from the results. Success, failure, it doesn't define you anymore. And this is the line you've got to remember. This is the big takeaway. The goal is not freedom from action. It's not about escaping the world. It's about finding freedom in action. Right there, in the middle of your daily life. It just completely flips the script on what it means to be free. Okay, let's bring this all home. Let's talk about how this ancient wisdom applies right now in our world. Because this isn't just some abstract philosophy. It speaks directly to a problem a lot of us face. Seriously, have you ever wondered about this? You see people with the best intentions on the planet Caregivers, activists, teachers, parents, they give and they give and they give and they end up totally burnt out. And it's not just tired, it's that deep, hollowed-out feeling. They wanted to change the world for the better, but they ended up just spent. How does that happen when the intention was so good? It's because good intentions, without the right understanding, are just mentally draining. The Gita's diagnosis is brilliant. The burnout isn't from the work itself, it's from the attachment to the work. See, when your identity gets tangled up with getting a specific result, you're setting yourself up for a fall. When things don't work out, you get crushed by disappointment. When people don't appreciate what you're doing, that little seed of resentment starts to grow. And that whole cycle, disappointment, resentment, repeat, that's the recipe for burnout. Your heart was in the right place, but your internal strategy was just unsustainable. And that's where knowledge comes in as the antidote. It gives you the clarity to draw a line, to see what's actually your job and what isn't. Think about a surgeon. Her job is to perform the surgery with every ounce of her skill and focus. That's her part. But the patient's ultimate recovery, that depends on a million other things she can't control. Knowledge lets her do her job perfectly, and then let go of the anxiety over the final outcome. And that ability to let go, that's everything. It's the difference between being responsible and being a wreck.
So, to wrap it all up, Chapter 4 doesn't throw out what we learned in Chapter 3, not at all. It just adds a crucial layer. Action? Yeah, you gotta do it. Selflessness? Absolutely essential. But it's the knowledge that unlocks the door to real freedom. You need the whole package, all three, to really make the journey work.
And with that, let me leave you with a bit of a brain teaser, something Krishna gets into next. He's about to turn our whole idea of action completely upside down. He suggests that sometimes the busiest person in the room is actually doing nothing, and the person sitting perfectly still is performing the most powerful action of all. We're going to try and decode that incredible puzzle in our next Explain